Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is DB333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron for the New Order, Last Days of Europe, as, well, the Soviet Republic of Western Russia. Now, in the last video, we believe we pushed back the front. In fact, we kicked them out of Russia, as it turned out to be nothing more than military reactionaries using socialism for, their own, sort of twisted ways. We also went ahead and officially unified Western Russia under our banner. This is kind of a solid banner. I know we get a better flag as we go along, but for what we have now, it's okay. And then we negotiated successfully with Finland to get the Kola Peninsula, Murmansk, and some parts of an autonomous zone here in Karelia, which is technically a puppet of Finland, but we have military access. We guarantee their independence. So, all things considered, it's a pretty good deal. And we didn't have to go to war for it, which is nice. So we can save that manpower and that time doing other stuff. Like, I don't know. Let me set my timer real quick. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, I don't know. Soviet humanism. That's a pretty good thing to dedicate our time to. So we're gonna just... Ooh. Oh no. That's not good. It's a bad day to be Poland, indeed. What do we have here? We're still empowering the organizations. Get some more manpower. Which we're okay on right now. I don't think we need that too badly. We still have that ceasefire event from the Vznensky days, which I think is kind of funny. Oh. Hello? Game? Something big is happening, and I don't know if I like... Oh, we're Tusk. Oh, God. Oh. That's a spooky little picture. I think that guy wanted to shoot me. What the fuck? But yeah, we'll empower workers' organizations. Very, very beautiful work. With the Botswana Zimbabwe Democratic Front. ZANU Zimbabwe. It's neat to see how everything kind of worked out here. Got Iberia over there. Still intact. Let's see what happens with Civil War over there. Will repurpose some Soviet infrastructure, get some more industrial equipment, societal development. That sounds nice. And Soviet humanism is done. What do we want to do? I want to finish up on this so we can get working on the Southern Urals. Plus, relax via administrative strain and all that good stuff. Let's declare an extraordinary session. Despite the best efforts of research in Russia to combat any remaining counter-revolutionary movements, some cells in underground groups still linger and remind us of the days of the Komi Republic's turbulent policies. Susalite and Zhdanov supporters continue to exist both among the citizens of the country and in some cases inside the government, perhaps plotting to overthrow it. This cannot stand. The Presidium, responsible for governing the country, and the Directorate of Revolutionary Preservation, responsible for keeping it safe, will convene as soon as possible to discuss solutions to this urgent matter. Under the supervision of a General Secretary, their task for the near future will be to eliminate the last threats of the state so that we can move forward. Sounds urgent. This is all coming along at a very nice pace, actually. I'm happy with this. I'm just gonna move first. Poverty is going well. Mechanization, though. We might get that going soon, so, that'll be very nice. Oh, no. The men and women of the Polish homeland fought with everything they had. Poland is lost. Perhaps this time forever. How can it be peaceful when they try and take away your dignity? I don't know. We got our Soviet humanism. We have some overextension, which everyone has. Black market trading is kind of substantial, honestly. Nagasaki Accord signed, peace in Vietnam. There's at least that going. Bukharina slammed her tea flask on the binders. They made a satisfying thud as advisors cringed. I was assured by the Susalite Splittus had been removed. Assured by the chief of the police that they posed no threat to our security. What was I given for my assurances? She placed another binder up on the table. This one landed like a feather, but none dared look at its contents, precisely because they already knew what it was. The president moved past the dizzying heights of the rage and took flight into the rarefied heights of a cold, calm fury. The room fell even more silent than it had previously. Several staffers made motions to escape for a toilet break, fleeing at the minutest of nods. I'm only going to ask this once. Can I be assured that no such attacks will happen again? The chief of police averted a gaze told her all she needed to know. Very well. I had wanted to avoid this unpleasantry, but we cannot afford to have this to spoil the revolution. Gather the Directorate for Revolutionary Preservation and call the head of the Presidium to my office. Upon her lips was affixed something that looked like a smile, and yet was so utterly constricted, it looked more like a particularly painful rictus. Her secretary nodded, only barely suppressing her trembling, and made a careful note upon her calendar. You are dismissed. Do not return until I call. As the gathered staff dispersed into the depths of the chamber, Bukharina collapsed into herself, listening only to the guilt that burrowed deep in her heart and cradling her tea flask. I don't want to do this, but I have to. Well, we'll go ahead and get a loyal police force then. Our past of cooperating with Susalite and Zhdanovite elements still haunts us, as they have contacts in important positions even to this day. For example, the Directorate of Revolutionary Preservation, a body meant to serve the government and protect its people, has possibly been infiltrated by these revisionists and must now be reformed. Trusted men and women who have stood on the side of the General Secretary since the early days will be put in charge of the opposition to identify and purge any possible dissidents and agents. Anyone deemed disloyal inside the URS will be discharged, and if treason to the state is proven, tried for their crimes. Only through a clean police force will the revolution be able to survive and expand. Yeah, this is the ugly part of utopia, when people don't want to go through with your utopia. You have to make sure, they stick with it. The president glared out at the gathered members of the directorate in the presidium. Detached part of her mind, the part she still allowed to roam free, admitted that they represented the best and the worst of her regime. The shining mind she'd found to build the revolution, and the monsters in the night that she trusted to keep it safe from the despoilers. It wouldn't matter after this. What they did next would make them all monsters in equal measures. There would be blood enough to share. Clearing her throat, she rose to speak. I have called you here today in view of your oath. When you were sworn into office in your capacities, I asked of you the strength and resolve to defend the revolution by any means necessary, even if it meant a suspension of formalities and conventions that others could afford, but we could not. She looked down. That moment has now arrived. Again, she looked up and the doubt was gone. Iron and the fire that lit it were all that remained. We had previously agreed on an informal armistice with the Susovite and Zdanovite elements in our republic and legislature for the sake of a nation and the revolution we embodied. Their armistice is henceforth suspended. Any necessary measures are to be taken to remove them. Social circles and sympathizers are to be considered complicit. A tentative voice rose from the rear. Are you suggesting the use of unlimited interrogation? Under Bukharina's desk, a hand-knotted and torn strips of paper was kneaded and thrown aside. On it was written the term, reprieve? All necessary measures. I cannot hold back. Not now. Well, there we go. Our construction is going kind of nowhere. Our poverty rate, power tools, the 2-year draft is kind of hurting us, which is interesting because we had the 4-year draft before. Horizontal industrial organization, let's do that. And after this, we really should get working on some of our doctrine. At least land doctrine, that'll be good. But how's our production coming along? We just need artillery. That's the main thing we need to worry about. Okay. Okay, let's see. We can do some land reform programs. Decrease coring time, that would be nice. Although, you might need to understand I have a bit of apprehension for, certain socialist Russian histories with land reform. But we have a lot of good stuff here, actually, we can get working on. Let's set our focus on blinding the ultravisionaries. Oh, get it? Blind? Because they have ultravision. The strange and esoteric ideas of the ultravisionaries are ultimately dangerous to the welfare and security of the state. It's clear that the Zdanov's faction must be dealt with. Known members will be expelled from government office. Their leaders will be discredited in the court of public opinion. They will be watched carefully for the rest of their lives. This bizarre cult will be excised as cleanly and decisively as possible. Okay. Yuri Andropov had never been comfortable with fine food. He could never quite bring himself to focus on dietary extravagance, not when there was talking to be done and people scanted. Bukharina was evidently a woman of similar tastes, gazing around the Spartan confines of a cafe, if it could be called that. Yuri admitted that it was exactly as proletarian as he'd imagined the chairwoman would like. Svetlana looked up from her plate, shooting a quizzical gaze. Enjoying the food? I suppose we could have chosen a better establishment. Yuri shrugged. Truth be told, Madam Bukharina, it's all the same to me. I don't care much for affairs of the palate these days. The conversation trailed off, stillborn. For a long while, the two ate in silence. Bukharina pushed her plate away. I've noticed the directorate's latest report on loyalty and rank and file unions. Very well written. I have struggled to do it better. Yuri tilted his head in a little acknowledgement, but said nothing. The chairwoman raised her cup to her lips, so what she said next could be heard clear in the echo. Are there similar concerns with the leadership of the directorate? The glint of a cup was unnaturally bright. Yuri put the flash of a light before him in the open window about 2 meters away towards and chuckled himself. The kid was grown with fangs. I don't believe so, chairwoman. Of course, now the game was up. The pistol in her handbag seemed almost gouge. It was a good effort from an amateur. Perhaps she would have made as good an operative as a politician. My apologies, chairwoman. I must leave for business. Enjoy your meal. Yuri leaned closer and whispered, and get your sniper to blur scope a little. It was painfully obvious. Even so, a good effort, yeah? Then he was gone, leaving a flustered chairwoman to back up their lunch in her dignity. Professional courtesy. Damn, okay. I think army professionalism will be a good thing to get invested in, because I don't think we're doing well in that regard. No, we're doing nothing in that regard, actually. So yeah, let's get working on that. Not with a bang, but with a whimper. Here we are. We're getting a good PP game right now. We really are. I like that. Bukharina is definitely helping in that regard. Just the rest is really just overextension of our regime. Get another general, which we'll go with. We'll go with Mikhail Titov. We'll put him on the border of, I guess, Orenburg. The man with 1,000 lists. There's a certain rhythm, Andropov mused, to the work he did here at the directorate. The funny thing was that it really wasn't that different from the work he'd done his cavorting with Suslov. One glanced through dossiers, picking apart the details of someone's life and family and career, and at the end, one made a choice. If the choice was positive, Andropov would add it to the large pile on the left, if not to the small, neat, and alphabetically arranged stack on the left. Rinse and repeat. Andropov had once made the mistake of talking to a priest about his line of work. The latter had mumbled something about the sheep and the goats, and then he'd retreated. Well, even without reading the good book, Andropov knew what he was on about. His job was essentially that of a judge, the good and the bad, the assets and the liabilities, the quick and the dead. And there had been so very many of the latter in recent days, Yuri mused. For reasons, headquarters was sending over requests at a vastly increased rate, even compared to the early days of the revolution. They were lucky that the directorate had recently gone a new wave of recruits. This stack had been the result of what he had estimated to be 3 months of work of labor. Otherwise, well, no revolutionary state has survived the collapse of its security apparatus. A staffer poked his head on the side of the door, yelling, "Director Andropov, there's a fresh stack of work for you down the hall." Andropov stretched his sore back, hiding a wry smile. The visionaries all sounded different, but his unceasing labor was, in the end, the same under every one of them. Well, he supposed. There was one factor which had changed. The coffee's better under Bukharina. Well, there we go. Got that going for us. We'll drop the new group of troops in Svensk and go with that. How's our economy doing? You know, that deficit is pretty nasty. Well, we've blinded the ultra-visionaries. We'll go ahead and shackle the dogmatist. Mikhail Suslov's hardline faction has been sidelined and Suslov himself removed from the equation entirely. However, we still need to deal with many of its members who remain in public office. They need not be purged as thoroughly as Zhdanov's people, but we still must remove them from positions of power. A few retirements here and a few reassignments there. The old dogmatists must not be able to threaten our efforts. What do we want to work on? Poverty rate. Could always do some working on. I think it's always worth investing in poverty relief efforts. 200 million to the national debt. But we're doing some good work and getting people out of poverty, which will help raise our taxes eventually, and we'll get that going. No more people buying in, I guess not quite to the economy, but I mean, you know what I mean. Working in the system, working in the factories. Not exactly sure how this economy works. We'll get. I guess we'll figure out when we get more into the economy bit, won't we? No, we get a cause for liberation. This economy tree looks really good, actually, I gotta say. We'll have to check this out. The Soviet one looks good, too. Okay, peace at last. At last, our position in the government is secured. The esoterics and hardliners have been removed from power, and any threat that they would pose to us has been effectively neutralized. We still have to ensure that those in government who have voiced concerns are properly dealt with, but after some stern messaging, they should get the picture. Our republic has moved towards been united under the left, and we may all move towards a better future. So we'll get some more libertarian socialism, reduce the strain on our state, some more PP, and we'll get a nice event. I will hope it's a nice event. Ooh. Chairwoman Bukharina was, in truth, something akin to the thick coat Svetlana would wear in a particularly harsh blizzard. Svetlana Bukharina was for the most part at ease in the chairwoman's coat. It was never a perfect fit, and often an uncomfortable one. In a moment of stress, doubt, or fear, she withdrew to her home in the comforts of Karbi, where the voices and the endless expectant gazes could be dispelled at least for a few hours. Now she gazed upon the preening bird, her eyes unfocused and dull, her mind elsewhere altogether. She was, in her mind, leaving through the brief history of her interaction with Suslov. Impromptu alliance here, a common resolution there. In truth, the two had never shared much in common, despite their common cause, and the days when they had fought under the same banner seemed increasingly distant. A mirage through a telescope of time. With some effort, she wrestled her attention to the present and the later awaiting her. She had no real desire to open it because she knew how to read it. The inevitable would come to pass. On the envelope was marked the words Suslov Contingency Plan. Vermilion Rat. And it were details of the operation that would remove her greatest political opponent in the Republic. She'd been in the briefing herself. The last letter was merely a formality. All it would take was a stamp and a signature, and the paralysis of the left of the Republic would come to an end. So why did her tremble so as she thought? No, she felt no real remorse. She knew what had to be done. It felt wrong, like cutting the last strings to one's anchor. And in truth, Suslov was nothing without its supporters. Would a little mercy be too much to share? Karbi shrieked, and Bukharina rushed to soothe her feathers. She stood there, gently patting the bird for a long time, her decision crystallizing in her head. That stab hit is not nice. We must close accounts. Kill him. Ooh. 2. My dearest, Dinara. My love, it's been a while since I last saw you, has it not? I hope you're well, but I'm afraid I must spoil your mood, for I do not bring good news. You have surely heard by now that Mikhail Suslov was found dead on the cooling board in one of our halal slaughterhouses. Suffice to say that when our medical team entered, we found more to scrape off than to lift up. He had been fed through a grinder, apparently, and what was left was, quite frankly, immaterial in the literal sense. What I want you to know, Dinar, is this. It was not us. No matter what the radio says in the coming days or weeks, I know the Muslim community here. We have always had faith in God to preserve us. You know that we are not violent people. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise. What we believe may soon be irrelevant, however. Already the government has issued other foul revolutionary directives to begin investigating into the death. And the neighbors of a flat I am staying in have been questioned several times in the last week. And there's more. They're actively removing those who still wear the veils. Yes, women are being accosted in the streets for a crime of following what they believe. Is this the socialist culture we were told to set us free? It's not safe for us here, not anymore. And I know you are a loyal servant. You too will not survive from the government's anger. Pack your suitcases, my love. We must flee from the cities until the last transgression is forgotten. I will meet you, and if I do not, know that you will always have been with me in my heart. Do not fear. This too will pass. Years with love, Ahmad. So we lose the Bureau of Ideological Analysis. It's a shame because it's nice. It is a nice bonus, but hurry, the man you love awaits. Take that hit of authoritarian support. We get some nice lib-soc support going for us, though. I mean, I have a feeling he wouldn't have given us the same. He wouldn't, have the same reservations that we just had, but oh, there we go. Mass mechanization. For this bread we thank thee. Beautiful. What's on the uptick next? Probably looks like poverty rate. Although our industrial equipment is improving too, pretty quickly. So it might be that, end up being that. We'll see. We'll exercise these guys a bit, get some peace at last. The only thing better than a final triumph, Svetlana Bukharina decided, was the ambiance. The city of Rykov spread out below the window of her personal office, forming a glowing sign that the proletariat state need fear German bombs no longer. The blackest hours of the morning, when only cleaning crews and the on-duty URS agents were present, they were shown so beautifully. A perfect complement to the friendly smell of a teacup on her desk, and the sweet romantic jazz that the record player was playing. In her way, this was her personal paradise. Alone, peaceful, and victorious, lounging in her chair in a way she would never allow to be photographed. It was the calmest part of the week, the time she had to herself to sit in her solitary office and get a few moments of reflection and relaxation. Moving her feet off the desk surfaces and swiveling the chair around, she looked back out of the half-shuttered window once more. In the distance, red fireworks were being fired off, celebrations of her support, no doubt, the final neutralization of sadly misguided opposition, their own victory day. It was a gesture she thought of privately. She approved of privately. Celebration, making positive example, those who tragically resisted progress would eventually come around, exposed to the joy and community of true progressive society. Repression past a certain point would merely lead their ideals to form their metaphorical fortresses. She took a sip of tea and closed her eyes, moving a singular finger in the air as if conducting the music. Finally, she thought. The first phase of her work had been a success. Everything was working just as it should be. Quiet hours. That was a strain on our country coming along. I'm getting rid of it, which is nice. Ooh, we can go and change to the 8-hour workday. Yeah. A free worker. The goal of a common state is, above all, to guarantee the freedom and the power of a common worker. The government understands this and will immediately begin taking progressive measures with said goal in mind. Primitive laws on workers' rights already exist, but they are often not optimal or are not followed in certain areas. These laws will be reformed and codified as per the wishes of the Congress and the Presidium, while those who do not follow them are to be punished accordingly. In addition, the changes will be publicized through media, so that everyone learns of the leaps the new union has made. Very nice, indeed. Alright, we can do some new stuff over here. Escalate land reform programs. A letter from the party member, status suspended, Kalina Miyazova. I knew, even after that first kiss faded into the twilight glow, that something was wrong about you. Perhaps that's what drew me to you in the first place. I knew from the way you spoke, as if half your body was in some far-off realm high above, that you were involved in something I dared not name, for fear would sweep me away. I never expected this. Piece by piece I was drawn by you, into a web of lies, deceit, layer upon layer of hidden truths, and I accepted it. Because I wanted so desperately to believe in what you said. The special selection of a directorate, the mission. You said Bukharina needed people to defend her, that the left needed night watchmen to protect it from the monsters in the night. Even as I began to see more than just money in the invoices I signed in my name for you, I believed in what you said. I see now the only menace Bukharina needed protection from was your merry band. How could I possibly have ignored the invoices to Slove? And as you smiled at me and promised that your alliance was nothing but a red herring, were you thinking of me? Of us? Know this, Anton Aronovich Pachakov. I stared into your eyes, so deep and rich like endless golden fields, as the red banners fluttered around us. And you promised never to leave me. I wish I'd never swept into your arms. I wish I had never known you at all. And I cannot, no matter how painful it is to remember you, cast you aside. I'll ask you once more, one last time. Are you truly a Slusovite mole? Did what we shared mean nothing to you? Please tell me. I will never see you again. The least you can do for someone who loves you and loves you still is a single, honest word. Yours, Kalina. Ouch. That monthly population boost might be nice. No, yeah, we'll escalate land reform programs, and hopefully that won't bite us in the ass. Okay, land auction. What do we want to do? I'm thinking combine operations, like last time. Damn, our research speed got hit by them getting rid of E-Visionaries, which, I mean, I guess makes sense, actually. Oh, at least now they're going after the SS in Ostland. I was about to say, they took out poor Poland, but not, you know. Who do they have over there now? Theodore Koch. Franz Walter Stalacker. What do we want to do? Ooh, this will be good to get that change going. every month. We'll empower the councils. As their next step in giving the workers more power over their jobs, local Soviets across the country will be trusted with a certain level of control and self-autonomy. They'll be allowed to set forth their own candidates for representation, as well as be the ones who decide quotas for production and several other measures that deal with our own workplace. Of course, the Presidium understands that no group can be completely trustworthy when they have control. For that reason, a Director of Revolutionary Preservation will be useful. As a service to ensure everything runs smoothly, they'll be observing the different factions and councils, seeking any dishonest men and women who would dare lie about lying in their work. Here we go. Let's do it. We can do this, give it more stability, and a bit of war support. That might be nice. Deficit is kind of high. There's only so much we can worry about there, I guess. What do you want to do? Some dockyards, maybe? Maybe some more civvy factories. There's plenty of stuff to do in like Nizhny Novgorod, Kostroma, Vologda, Slobodskoy. There's plenty of room to build stuff. Empowering the councils right now. Beautiful. Alright, a free woman. Let's do this. Change this to women of the workforce, which will give us a bit monthly population, but recruitable population goes up. Stability goes down, but everything else generally goes up. The fact that a woman is a leader of state is already a testament to the new opportunities presented in the new union. But it's not quite enough. As per the General Secretary's wish, steps will be taken in this direction of gender equality within the framework of a social state. To begin with, a committee will be formed of special advisors from both genders on Comrade Bukharina's orders, and its purpose will be none other than to support social equality and solve any disputes in that regard. From there, it will be a process of gradually getting laws and amendments passed so that women may finally be free and equal to men in the workplace, at home, and in society as a whole. Well, there we go. Escalating land reforms. What else do we want to do? Let's invest in some construction, I guess. Why not? England and Wales. How's old Margaret doing? Okay, show of force. Yeah, I see it. Ooh, the Mad Dog has been put down, and order in the southwest reigns once more. Ooh. We're no longer expelling the visionaries. That's nice. R.I.P. Longyun. Trying his best. A free woman. The chairman of a commission had seemed like an odd choice at first glance. Why had Bukharina chosen such an innocuous young woman, with little experience and even less credentials within the party, to lead the work? The chairwoman was seldom accused of political interference, but was an outright rumor of corruption swirling around the woman from the start. The choice was so unexpected, it was hard to believe it had not been planned. When the commission's first meeting kicked off, however, all doubts were dispelled. The woman introduced only as comrade Ekaterina outlined an agenda so ambitious and detailed it could only have come from a consummate political operative. In the days, she pushed through a proposal outlining radical changes to women-specific wage rate laws and housing specifications. Within the weeks, it was on the floor of the Congress of Soviets. Ekaterina brought the commission to vibrant action in other ways too. It's quickly discovered that her connections to industry players had bought them all a window into the closed spaces of the business world. A dinner meeting became a formal invitation and then spiraled into a full-blown conference complete with research initiatives. It was a dream come true for the committee's members. It seemed the sky was the limits with this mysterious young woman. Though most never have thought to question the committee head, one member was not so naive. As Ekaterina was packing her things in a meeting room one evening, the party operative approached her and whispered that she knew who she was, or at least who she had worked with. Industry access, windows to all the spheres of the government, secret projects that appeared and disappeared at will. Only one ghost remained this influential in the public. Ekaterina chuckled and whispered to her, "Suslov is dead. I, however, am very much alive." Then she was gone, leaving only a scattering of notes in her wake. There we go. Come in and clutch with the women's rights. A question of questioning. Let's see this. The Russians and other ethnicities inside of borders are often defined by centuries-old traditions and moral codes. However, what do they matter if all they do is hold us back and prevent progress comparable to the rest of the world? Lenin and Bukharina started the idea of questioning these long-lasting traditions, as they occasionally proved to be hurdles in the development of society, but never finished it. The warlord era was another blow to these new ideas, but here we are to fix that. The General Secretary and the President have agreed on a course of action through what the state will encourage rethinking of these ancient cultural trends. An abundance of speeches and propaganda will help to achieve much-needed progress. Is this the gay rights one? Our refresh is going up at a very slow rate. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but what more can you do? Hunters and trappers. What else do we want to do? Education funding, that's always nice. Increases GDP, we'll do it. We'll do that. Civilian construction. A question of questioning. Socialist workers, we have heard the cries of the revisionists in our struggle to build a world for the dignity of the proletariat. The revisionist says one of three things. First, that women are physically incapable. Second, that women are emotionally hysterical. Third, that to embrace equality would ruin our traditions. Let us consider the following. Oh, is this Bill Nye? To the first, we argue that women are no more physically incapable than our men. Women are rarely seen in manly labor because they have not been given the chance to work outside the home. Indeed, raising a home with little support from a husband can be oppressive and be oppression in itself. To the second, we apply that women are far from hysterical, the more composed sex. Was Hitler not a male? It was under the charge of male leaders, not female, that the world was swept in war and horror, and was under the bourgeois dictatorship of the intellect that the world learned to associate maleness with wisdom and femaleness with chaos. This is oppression in itself. To the third, we retort that the same tradition that gives Russia its values have led it into error. Again and again, because Russia loved the Tsar, it averted before its gaze, an expected reply from the First War, and was shocked when the Tsar answered their begging with bullets. Because Russia loved tradition, it hesitated when the clarion came to build itself up for the rest of the world, and for it we were crushed, as Hitler's savage came for us. Our infatuation with tradition will lead us to embrace only the grave. Comrades, you have heard the call for revolution. Let us obey and fight to the end against all the shackles that reactionism imposes upon us. Modernity and the classless future await the brave. Reject tradition, embrace modernity. Alright, then we can return to Kollontai. Alexandra Kollontai, one of the few female old Bolsheviks, is considered an early champion of women's rights, and for good reasons. She spearheaded the idea of Marxist feminism, the idea that true gender equality in all aspects can only be achieved as a result of a socialist revolution like the one the Bolsheviks planned and eventually executed. While that might not have been completely achieved, it's now Comrade Bukharina's will and her duty to continue Kollontai's legacy. Her ideology will not only be accepted, but we shall bake into law as a not insignificant part of a new union's ideology. Therefore, we will assure Russia's entrenched as a champion of equality and one of the first nations to truly confront the matter. There we go, okay. Ooh. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to cut it here. Thank you as always for watching. However, if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you want to see more of this content in the future, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more uploads every weekday, as well as every Saturday. If you have any comments, feedback, concerns, anything of the sort, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get, and I appreciate any all feedback you might have for me. I'll have to read this in a second. If you want to chat or play games, I have a Discord. If you want to send a few bucks my way, I have a Patreon. If you want to watch me do sort of stuff live, I have a Twitch, all of which are down linked below, so check that out if you give it a shot. And that's about it, guys. Thank you as always for watching. My name has been DB333, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.